Anyway, what's up guys, this is Atreides again. The first build video I had, I look back at it, it was a DK healer, and it was kind of horrible. So I'm going to do a class that I'm a lot more comfortable with a playstyle I'm a lot more comfortable with. I haven't played this character in a long time, I just started playing it again about a week ago, but I'm having great success, and I don't have any super expensive things. Like my stabs right now, I think they're only blue, and I'm doing enough damage to where that is irrelevant. So yeah, this is a 7 light build. You could do a 5-1-1 if you like, but I don't have Undaunted that high on this character. And one of the more popular ways to play Nightblade, the two right now that I keep seeing a lot of, are melee Nightblades, melee magic Nightblades, using concealed weapon. I didn't like that because I feel too squishy, and I'm sure there's ways that you go around that, but I like playing range, so that's what I did. So let's get to the build. I'm not champion cap yet, I'm only 574, but it's still awesome. Alright, first let's do sets. I'm doing 2 pieces of Vicious Death just for the spell damage, sharpened. I'm doing the Inferno Staff and the Restoration Staff. Restoration Staff I would recommend be defending, but sharpened's what I had. And I'm running the Helmet of Vicious Death. All my pieces are Divines except for my shoulder, which I don't have it in Divines. That's 2-piece Vicious. Then I'm running 5-piece Julianos, good old basic Julianos. It's craftable, so that's simple. This is the one piece I don't have. Divines is infused, which is alright, but it's a 1-piece Kina for the spell damage. These are all Julianos Divines, and then the jewelry is all Arcane Willpower, 2 spell damage, 1 recovery. That's really simple, it's all really easy to get. Willpower might be a little bit expensive, I'm not sure. I've had this for a long time. Alright, let's go over skills. Alright, so first I have Swallow Soul. I play solo most of the time. I go groups occasionally, and I still don't really swap this out. I just find this to be most convenient. This is my spammable attack. This is what I use to essentially like animation, cancel, and weave. That's my main source of, that's my spam DPS. It's an awesome heal. It's super cheap. It does good damage with this build. Alright. This is where I typically open the fight with. It's Crippling Grasp. It's just a giant dot. Alright. It gives you Major Expedition, increases your movement speed by 30% for 8 seconds. Not that relevant, but that's nice. The main reason I use this is it's almost a 13k dot, and it immobilizes them, meaning that they can't move for 1.5 seconds. It also slows them for 8 seconds by 40%. That's nice. 28 meter range in Cyrodiil, that goes up a bit. Then the Execute, Impale, that's not even maxed out yet. I have no idea how that's not maxed out, but that's an awesome Execute. This build, I'll show you stats here in just a second. It's got 51% crit, so this crits all the time on executes. If I have all my buffs up and everything and I'm doing what I need to do, this thing usually crits for about 11k on an execute, which is really nice. Also, there's a passive in Assassination, Executioner, which gives me Magicka back over 6 seconds when I kill an enemy with an Assassination ability. Impale is an Assassination ability, so I'll get back a little bit more magic than it costs, so it just adds nice recovery. Inner Light, I don't ever really use this, but I just have it on here for the spell crit, the passive spell crit, and the max Magicka. So that's really nice. This spot, I've been debating whether or not to change this for my invis, but I liked having this on my front bar just because that'll make me live through people's burst. It's Dampen Magic. You could do the other morph if you want, if you're having sustain issues, but with this build I've got plenty of sustain, so I prefer the morph that gives me a higher shield value. Alright, then Soul Harvest. There's 14k tooltip. It increases my damage against them by 20%. It reduces their healing done by 30%. And I like the anytime I kill an enemy, I get 10 ultimate. This build, you get crazy ultimate. This only costs 70 ultimate, so it's almost spammable. You can cast this like every 10 seconds. It's nuts. So that's my front bar. Back bar. Siphoning attacks, not super necessary. For sustain, I just like having it because I weave. It gives me those extra heals and a little bit of magic, and it's cheap. This works a lot like Rally does for the sustain. See at the bottom it says 4,270 magic returned at the end of it. So you can cast this, and if you need a little burst magic, you can cast this again, and it will give you up to 4,270 Magicka based on how long that's been active. So the longer you let that go, the better the magic return is going to be. So that's really nice. I don't really use that for that, but if you need to. This I swap out depending on what I need. This is Piercing Mark. This is just the anti-Nightblade ability. In all reality, I should be putting this on just any target I'm fighting, and I typically do, but most of the time I save it for Nightblades, just because it's really hard for a Nightblade to do anything if I know where they are. It's got a nice heal on them, so that's awesome. Healing Ward, that's super necessary on most builds. It's a 21k shield if I'm low health, so that's more shielding than I have max health. Mass Hysteria, this is just too good not to have on a Nightblade. You guys all know what it is. It's not crazy expensive, but it's not cheap. It's a fear, 4.5 second fear. When they're done, their movement speed is reduced by 52% for 4 seconds, and they do less damage, 15% less damage for 4 seconds, which that's really nice. And then there's your ability that makes you a Nightblade, your stealth. So if that's not super expensive, that's going to get even less expensive once I get that maxed out. There's a couple abilities in here that aren't maxed out, so I line this up with all sorts of things. I use this to get out of trouble. I use this to just kind of move around the battlefield undetected. It's an awesome ability, and if you're a Nightblade, you should be using it. And then the ultimate on this bar is Panacea. I don't have it morphed yet, mostly because my restoration staff isn't used when I'm killing people, so it doesn't typically get XP. I'll be grinding out to get that. I don't ever really need this, but there are times whenever you're trying to 1vx and there's just too much going on, and this allows you to just forget about being defensive and just be offensive for 5 seconds, which 5 seconds is enough to get off my combo, which will kill most people. I was talking about this Piercing Mark being my flex spot. For duels and things, I typically use this because Nightblades are everywhere. They do a lot of damage if they can get the jump on you, and that just pretty much shuts them down. I open with that if I see that they're using Nightblade buffs. What I will exchange it with is Merciless Resolve, which it increases your damage by 8% for 20 seconds, which 8% doesn't sound like a lot, but that's an awesome buff. And then after hitting with 5 light or heavy attacks, it changes to Assassin's Will, which does 17,000 magic damage. That's a large tooltip. That is a very large tooltip. And with this buff, it'll hit 8% harder too. So, alright. This ability, the bottom of this, the 5 light or heavy attacks, is really easy in combat because I'm weaving my heavy and light attacks in with my Swallow Soul. So I can get this off. Typically what I'll do is I will do my 5 light and heavy attacks in my weaving rotation, and then I will go to my back bar. This will be a blue icon so I can cast the spectral bow, the proc of this, and right before I do that I'll go invisible. That way it's an auto crit, so it's a critical hit of 17,000, so I can hit people with this for about 15k depending on all the buffs I have up and the armor that they're wearing. So that's really nice. Let's look at my stats. Alright, so on my front bar I have 41,000 max Magicka, which is a good amount. 15,888 health, which that's low health in Cyrodiil, just because blues are always Emperor. I've got about 22k with this, which is good. I've got low stamina. I usually run stamina potions, but if you see that you're having trouble with the stamina sustain, you could always go tripod, which is good. I've got 1600 magic recovery, which is fine for me. You could always use the Witch Mother's Potent Brew set, which will lower your health and magic by just a little bit, and it'll give you a lot more recovery. I think my recovery is at 2200 when I'm using that, which is great. Spell damage is at 2146. It's not horrible. It's not great, but it works for what I need it to. And then the crit is 51.9%. So that's pretty great. On my front bar, my spell resistances are incredibly low. I don't run any impin on this build because I usually play from stealth and I'm not getting hit. If I do get hit, I shield, and your shield can't get crit on, so that's pretty nice. You might want to run impin. I don't find it necessary, but it all depends on what you're used to and what you like. On my back bar, I believe I have a few more shadow skills. Nope, I guess not. In stealth, whenever I use my invisibility, I've got 15,000 spell and 12,000 physical, which is still really low, but it's a little bit better. So yeah, on my back bar I only have 39,630 max Magicka, but that's because I don't have the inner light on this bar. I have all 64 points into Magicka, and